Welcome to Inspire and Move, the show that inspires you to create, connect, and grow. I'm going to bring you meaningful conversations, aha moments, and all the motivation you need to up-level every part of your life. I'm Ali Aruda, founder of Inspire and Move, and your personal hype girl. I've gone from fashion school to celebrity stylist to corporate marketing to brick-and-mortar entrepreneurship with my husband, each time learning incredible lessons how to pivot, reimagine, and implement the steps to become successful. I'm passionate about inspiring others to live their best life, a life of joy. We have the power to design a life that we love, because life is too short not to. The best part is that you weren't meant to do this alone. If you feel like you are meant for more, let me ride shotgun with you, and together, let's get you to where you want to go.
All right, welcome back. We're so excited to do part 2 of our collab podcast, Inspire and Move with Ali Aruda and Wild Medicine with myself.
I love it. And we were saying this on another episode earlier, how it's been so long since we've done episodes together.
But
so
now we're
banking a bunch today.
Podcast
and we
besties.
have a little mocktail moment with a little bloom. Cheers.
Okay, it's so delicious.
And such a pretty color for anyone that's watching this.
And you're so sweet. You sent me home with a bunch. So I'm very excited about that.
I always have to take care of my friends. Okay, so this topic is like we are going nerdy, which I know you love these conversations. Okay, it's fresh on my mind though. This is why I want to have this conversation, is because Matt and I just recently had the most incredible experience at Lifehack Longevity for an executive medical. And fun fact that I also love health to a different scale than you as a practicing doctor, naturopathic doctor, a professional in the wellness and health space. But I have always wanted to have private healthcare. It's been on my vision board for a number of years. So being able to have the opportunity to go to Lifehack that just opened about a year ago in Burlington, and we did a full day experience. We're talking like DEXA scan, VO2 max testing. I know, so all good. The data. We did epigenetic testing, blood work. There was a couple days later, we did a ultrasound that was really focused on the liver. Slightly had me stressed because I do like wine. But we then recently went back for our review of all of the results, and I can't wait to show you my duotang.
Yeah, you know,
I'm
going to nerd out on it.
I should just make a copy.
Yeah.
You can take it
I know.
and read it before bed.
And I'll send you messages like, we need to talk about this. Yeah.
But this is what I want to talk about.
Yeah.
So without going to all the great detail of what is in my report, which was quite exquisite, I will say. I'm just going to brag about myself for a second. Like the word elite was in there many times. Hop of the human scale or human speech. Like there was some really good one-liners in the report. But the area of improvement for Ali Aruda, everyone listening and watching, are you ready for this? And if you know me, this will not be shocking.
No.
I am a high achiever to my core. So my area of recovery, I just gave it away. My area of improvement is recovery.
And it's because you won't recover that you spoiled the lead. Yeah. As your breathwork facilitator, yes. I can attest that your little eyeballs don't like to relax very much. You're like a little bunny rabbit.
Can I just say before we dive into this, the recent long weekend we had, I guess, was the May long weekend. And here in Ontario, it was raining all weekend. I didn't know really what to do with myself. We're also in a new home. We don't have a pool like we used to. So long weekends are going to look different now.
Yeah.
That I was like, I guess like, and I actually was trying what I should also preface this by saying, I actively was trying to not work because I enjoy working. I could work all the time. I have lots of things to work on a regular basis. So I was trying to not work. And I looked at my husband and I looked at Matt. And I'm like, what should I do? I got a new book. I'm going to read. And I was like, well, I really kind of want to do some Canva work on some social content. But no, I'm just going to read. It was hard.
Yeah. No, I relate. I very much relate.
But you have like healed yourself so hard in terms of all of that.
I was forced to have to really sit with those parts. And like we were saying before, like why this is so important, why data is so important. Mm-hmm. And then what do we do with that data? And I think something to consider for women, and especially like the world we reside in, like even the time scheduling that we exist in is incredibly masculine in its operation. very circadian, and we're not. And as we get older and as we step into perimenopause and our hormones start shifting, it becomes a little bit more important to be intentional. And like I was saying to you, as much as I love productivity, I also love to work. Like it's a really, like I have an arm injury
because you were in a benchmark small group.
Yeah, I know, because of how much I really do. I love creating on Canva. I love, like
for you, it's the mouse.
Yeah, it was all of it. I don't know. My husband said it's scrolling. Like he just really likes to poke at my deficiencies though too. So who knows? It's biased information, but it's my dominant.
There's no data
arm.
behind it. It sounds like
there's no proof. No, there is. But rest becomes as important as productivity, and so we really do need to learn to start taking in that information. And you probably knew a lot of that. None of it was surprising, although having the data is actually very helpful, right? Like if we're looking at your cortisol levels, if we're looking at your ability to be resilient and recover, all of those things, especially because you love gains, right? Like we see you online, becoming masterful at your pull-ups and all of these things that are really, really exciting and amazing. If you don't recover, there's going to be consequence, right? Like they're like, it's just, it has to happen. Right. So, I think sometimes that can be very motivating. I was talking to a patient recently saying that like data isn't like the be all end all in every situation, but if it's going to help with compliance or adherence to honoring what the body actually needs, like some of us need that information. I know I do, right? Like, so it's very motivating to say, okay, well, like, look at all these things that I have like intentionally built for my health and I'm doing great. And now we've got to learn to master, the restoration and the healing and making sure that we're caring for.
Okay, well, give me some tactical, I want to know more about your journey because I know we've talked about it on the podcast, but this was like many moons ago. I feel like we've collected some new listeners and followers of our shows since then. So I would love to touch on your experience with burnout. Yeah. Because I feel like that conversation is kind of coming back into the world of high performers, high achievers, whether you're corporate, whether you're an entrepreneur. And I would also love some tactical action items that those of us,
because your brain loves a checklist, doesn't it?
Loves a checklist. I love to do. Might actually go grab some Post-it notes and take some notes.
Yeah. And you know what I want to say? Okay. So we're so on brand for 2026 because nervous system resiliency is all the rage this year, right?
Nervous system is really having her moment.
She's having a moment. Protein last year, a little bit of fiber, nervous systems,
creatine.
All the rage.
She was kind of cool. Yeah. She's kind of parked over the side. Yeah, I think fiber's having a little bit of a moment as well.
She's having a moment, but nervous system seems to be taking the lead for what everyone's talking about in 2026. And so it's really important. And I read a really important distinguishment this week that I was like, okay, we need to bring this. And I know I've said it in breath work, but I want to reiterate it. And then we'll talk about why breath work.
I have a sidebar question. Yeah. How many things do you read a week that is not a book? I swear every time we have a conversation, I
read a lot of books.
I read this week. I read a study this week. I'm like,
I know.
Well,
Claude made that worse because now it can compile it for me, Allie. It's so bad.
I just had a clarifying question about this. How many studies you read a week?
We read a lot of studies these days. It's so we'll talk about that too. But I read a lot. I really have a huge passion for this. But anyways, okay. So resiliency is not about the ability to move into rest and digest and to find our calm, right? Because I think breathing is a great thing to add to the to-do list because it's at benchmark. But you will leave feeling calmer because you're practicing regulating your breathing and you are naturally going to force yourself into a state of rest and digest. But what it really means to actually improve our nervous system efficiency is to become more resilient. So the goal with nervous system, and this is why this is so important, is that if we're always producing, if we're always, in productivity mode, it's going to lend to elevated levels of cortisol, elevated levels of insulin. We're going to be more in that fight or flight. We're going to be directing more blood to our muscles because our body interprets this from a very primal place, or it's like the bear.
We're like
the bear's
zone 5.
about to get ya. So you're always moving. We need to be able to better move in and out of this state of fight or flight or rest and digest. Okay. So it's more about resiliency. So my goal when we're working on anything that's going to help improve nervous system, help recovery, is to help someone be able to tap into those sensations a lot faster for when we get hijacked. Hence our previous conversation, when things happen that we don't expect and we want to act like our best self. Like we've learned tools. Like I gave myself Friday till Monday. You talked about, finding a solution before maybe you respond to something that was less than ideal because you want to show up as your best self. These are all tactics in which we help our nervous system, like we help improve our resiliency. So my goal with breath work and our goal with anything that we're going to do to help with recovery and help with restoration and help with moving into that rest and digest state is to help shift more effectively. So we all know what it feels like to be stressed. We live in a world where we are accessible at all times. Someone can message you, someone can send an email, right? So it's super easy to understand how quickly we can be shifted from like totally tuning out to be like hijacked and like on high alert. We want to build a greater rest and digest muscle that counters that, so that when something happens, something unexpected happens, you're like, I'm going to take a breath. I'm going to find my center, and then I'm going to be able to respond in a way that's in integrity with how I would like to navigate the world. So there are two things with something like breath work that we want to do. One is to truly help people get back into their bodies. And this might be something that might be difficult for someone more like yourself. I'm not saying you're not in your body, but someone who's like really extroverted and really out there, it might be hard to like come back and just like find your breath. So that's a skill in itself, to just like get into the body and just find your breath and be in the present moment. What a gift it is to just be in the present moment, because then you're not future tripping. You're not feeling guilty about the past. You're like literally in the moment. You can have clarity, make decisions. And, want to talk about manifestation, like you can only do that from the present moment, right? So it's about being able to like come and find your rooting where you are, but it's also titrating you towards and normalizing sensations that would maybe destabilize you in the past. So when things felt unsafe when we were younger, we tended to find strategies to not feel those things. So we ate our feelings, or we distracted ourselves with TV, or whatever it was, right? There was a lot of things that we came up with coping strategies. Drinking wine for a lot of people, that it can be those things. It's not always, but it can be those things. So when we use something to help our nervous system create this more flexibility, what it means is that we're using these tools to help normalize. So the invitation is, when stress happens, that there is something in place that helps us find our breath, finds our present moment, so that we're like, this isn't scary. We're trying to normalize sensations that previously were too difficult to handle. And so we packed them away. I think we talked about that whole alchemy before.
Yes.
That's a huge part of why breathwork became one of the solutions, because I was impacted from my burnout and trying to pick up the pieces of, I actually went deaf in one ear because I could push my body so far that I actually went deaf and was like, it's my daughter's 8th birthday. I have businesses I just kept going. I didn't even stop until my friend was like, no, that's not normal. You need to get to the hospital. And I was like, yeah, I should probably be on a steroid. It's so bad. Like, it's so.
And that was from stress?
Yeah. The deafness is probably a viral infection, but if we think about the state of which I was in
and how you were operating,
yeah,
very fight or flight.
So it's a stretch. I understand people are going to be like, Michelle, that's like a wackadoodle thought. It's not, though.
What does burnout look like for people?
Yeah, great question.
Just if they are listening or watching this, like what are tactical signs that they're like, oh my gosh, that is me?
Yeah. So it is, okay. So there is This is a really good question, and I have like a list for this,
Yeah,
but I'm going to do my
tell me that
best
you
to
had
recall
a study
it.
for this.
There's like the not taking pleasure in things that you used to have joy in. There is like the actual depersonalization from things. Like it really like you're having a hard time participating in your life. Symptom wise, this can look like so many things: waking up panicked in the middle of the night, waking up exhausted, having a really difficult time turning off, anxiety, really like dysfunctional thinking, like overthinking, like it is moving to the point of where the perceived stress is overtaking almost everything. And so you can see that as like because there's elevated levels of cortisol for some people, there's the abdominal weight gain, there's the mental fog, there's the insomnia or mental health, like anxiety concerns. Like for me, like if knowing what I know now, because I think mine presented as anxiety, I definitely like had central weight gain. Like I had a lot of those things at the peak of my burnout. Learning to like, and I was pretty dramatic, and I don't know that everybody would handle it the same way. And it was painful to just like retire my practice. Like I literally was like, I can't do this anymore.
Well, that's crazy because you're experiencing this burnout that you unfortunately, I guess, has created from doing something that you love and you're so passionate about.
So confusing.
Create all this stress, you burn out. Now you're going to create this loss and grief experience for yourself by closing your practice. And then you're like, well, now I got to deal with those emotions and the burnout. How did you do it?
It looked, it in the intimate circles, I think it looked like a lot. And it was a lot. It was a lot. There were times where people would be and they're like, are you okay? I'm like, I don't know.
think so.
I'm okay. I really did. Like there was a point where my husband was like, I don't know what to do with you anymore. Like you're not, it's not like landing. Like,
And did it affect your family?
Of course. Like, it was really cute. When we got through it, I surprised them all with a trip to Disney because like Disney is like our like sacred family time.
It's also the happiest place on earth.
Yeah.
Solid comeback plan.
Yeah. That's sweet. Like I made your life hell.
Yeah.
Let's go to Disney.
Yeah. Thanks for the miserable time.
And
that
I wrote a
created for
letter
everyone.
about how much they meant to me and like it really meant a lot for me to be able to provide this for them. And my son looked at me dead in the face. They were young, but they were like, what happened? So blessed kids are like,
They're curious.
they notice.
And curiosity is a gift.
My husband lived through a lot of it and he's wonderful. I have a really wonderful partner and I went through it. It was very, very painful. I don't want to sugarcoat it because like it was burnout itself, the physical effects, the mental effects, the fact that you have to make changes. You can't keep operating like that. Your body's literally screaming no. People who don't, to the point of maybe where you're going with it, a lot of them end up with autoimmunity or other chronic diseases. Like no one escapes. Like we all have to process these things and you don't get to escape that. So, it was a cursed blessing to be someone who's willing to burn it all down in order to retrieve herself, to be reborn. And I did it. And there were financial consequences to that. There was a lot of pain that came with that. But again, now that I'm on the other side and I've literally rebuilt my life and I have a practice I'm obsessed with and there's so many, I participate in my life. Like I say to women all the time, like when I do something, it's now like everything I'm at is I'm 100% in. And so to be so present comes from the breath work and comes from the tactics that you've asked for that I will give you in a minute. But that is such a beautiful place to be that you like, there's such intentionality to my life when I launch something now, when I sit in a circle, when I create something new, I'm 100% in and I've checked myself and I like, there's an alignment that my energy, my resources and my passion are all in the same direction versus like it being so scattered and like I built something and I loved it in theory, but once it was all built, I built it wrong. I think you've probably heard a lot of people do that.
Or like people now, I feel like they're talking about like building it and then burning it down.
Yeah.
And rebuilding.
Why do so many people want farms and gardens right now?
Like majestic
Sourdough,
cows.
right? right?
Sourdough. Well, you're
There's
sourdough
something,
queen.
yeah, there's something to that. And I saw a meme that really made me laugh. Like, can firstborn daughters, which I am, not monetize every hobby they have? And I was like, I can't. I'll try next time, but I love to monetize things. But anyways, it was really made me laugh.
Okay,
but
wait, just for context, how many years ago was your burnout?
2020.
I thought you were going to say 20 years ago. I was like,
no, the math ain't mathing there.
Nothing. 2020. And what a time.
Yeah.
And then
Yes.
how long did it take you to heal? Like work
I'm still
through?
healing.
Okay.
In some ways I'm still reconciling like the traumatic feelings of it. And so I think I found myself back in practice. I think I retired my practice sometime in 2021. And by the end of 2023, beginning of 2024, I was back in. So I had like a 4-year thing, 4-year thing
sabbatical,
of figuring out,
burnout sabbatical.
And then also on the surface, like we talked about entrepreneurship, running the business and still acting like everything was okay when everything wasn't okay. That was a really like a hard place to be because and everyone who's in my inner circles, Wild Collective or my anything knew what was up. Like I'm not fake, but like you do have to act like as a business owner, like,
oh my gosh,
we're thriving. Like,
that's even you have secret places if you're a brick and mortar person, you'd have secret places where you can cry.
Yeah. Like I can talk about this now because now I won't cry. But the reason the branding on our clinic is the Wild Collective is I didn't think the Poppy Clinic would survive without me. And so I was like, I'm going to make this look on purpose. I'm going to make it look like we had this figured out, And so every day was like, where am I going? What am I building? What is happening? It was all very confusing. And I had friends who really encouraged me to be brave enough to like burn it down. And because I was so unhappy, like they were dealing a lot with the emotions and the behind the scenes. And they asked me years later, like, do you resent us at all for pushing you, like for having those conversations with you? And I was like, no, I don't see another way for me. I am who I am. And I'm proud that I'm someone who can like throw spaghetti and like go full tilt and see if it works. And I'm brave enough to burn it down when it's not working. But that I don't want to sugarcoat that. That's not like you wake up and you're like, so the business just like handled itself, right? Yeah. Like it's not pretty, right? There's financial expectation. Like there was so much there and we're still recovering as a family from those pieces. However, I got to rebuild. And I do think that ashes moment, like is a huge, huge moment that you have this like pure potential and pure potency. And like, how do I want to rebuild? How do I want to feel as I rebuild? And as I went back to clinical practice, which I was very nervous to do because part of the problem was that I didn't want to let anyone down.
Of course.
And so I stopped taking lunch breaks. I stopped taking bathroom breaks. I went to intermittent fasting and I only drank smoothies because we had no room to squeeze people in. Like, again, this is ego too. Like the business will survive without me. Everyone needs me. Like, right? Like they'll find another naturopath. You'll be okay. Like they'll be okay. But it's humbling.
But I think also at your core that you are someone who loves to serve.
100%.
You love to be of service. You love to provide value. And that is a wonderful trait about Michelle Peris. But in that moment, in that time of your life and business, it became a disservice to you.
That's right. And everyone has that moment, right? Mm-hmm. Like, if you're in service in any capacity.
We see it at Benchmark too, where we will want to do things. We are very approachable to our community. And then there are moments where you're like, damn it, why are we so approachable? Because everyone comes to you with this feedback or what they think you should do in certain situations. And it's frustrating and it's a bit of a clog where you are stuck in this potentially rock and a hard place to make a decision, and you've become so accessible that it can be easy for people to take advantage of.
100%.
And again, situations are different depending on yours, ours, anyone else out there. But it's amazing how you can have this duality between something that is such a gift, something you are so good at.
Yeah.
Whether it's a core trait or something in business. And then on the flip side, it can also have this almost like this antagonistic negative effect where you're just like, oh, knee slap.
Yeah.
Frustration.
Yep.
Thank you so much for listening. If you loved this episode, it would mean so much to me if you took a few seconds and shared this on social media, sent it to a friend, or left a 5-star review. There is power in community, and I'm so grateful to have you part of mine.